Navigating Modern Life, The Path to Stoic Wisdom. Picture this, you're scrolling through Instagram at 2 a.m. in your Chicago apartment, comparing your life to everyone else's highlight reel, feeling that familiar knot of anxiety in your stomach. Or maybe you're sitting in a Los Angeles coffee shop, checking your phone every 5 minutes to see if your boss responded to that email, desperately needing their approval to feel okay about yourself. Perhaps you're in your New York City studio apartment ordering takeout for the third night this week because cooking feels overwhelming and you're using food to numb the stress of another demanding day. Sound familiar? You're not alone. In our modern world, we've become masters at finding quick fixes for our psychological pain. We reach for substances, lose ourselves in endless Netflix binges, seek validation through social media likes, or pop pills prescribed by doctors who barely know our names. These solutions promise relief, but they're like putting a band-aid on a broken bone. They might cover the problem temporarily, but they never actually heal what's underneath. Here's the uncomfortable truth: these temporary fixes often make things worse. That anxiety comes back stronger. The need for approval becomes more desperate. The overwhelming feelings return with a vengeance. We end up trapped in cycles that leave us feeling more disconnected from ourselves than ever before. But what if I told you there's a different way? What if there's an ancient philosophy that understood these exact struggles over 2,000 years ago and developed practical solutions that still work today? The ancient Stoic philosophers like Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus faced the same human challenges we do. They dealt with anxiety, the pressure to please others, the pursuit of perfection, and the temptation to escape from life's difficulties. The difference is, they found a way through these challenges that leads to something the Greeks called Eudaimonia, a word that means true flourishing, genuine happiness, and living life to your fullest potential. This isn't the shallow happiness you get from a shopping spree or a weekend getaway. This is the deep, lasting satisfaction that comes from knowing who you are, accepting yourself completely, and living in harmony with your true nature. The Stoics understood that our problems don't come from external circumstances, they come from what they called passions or false judgments about reality. When we believe we need everyone to like us, when we think we must be perfect to be worthy, when we assume we can control things that are actually beyond our power, these false beliefs create our suffering. Today, we're going to explore how Stoic wisdom can transform the most common struggles of modern life. We look at why modern living feels so overwhelming, how to break free from the exhausting need for approval, why perfectionism is actually holding you back, and how isolation, even when it feels protective, might be keeping you from the connections that could heal you. Most importantly, we'll discover practical steps you can take starting today to move toward Eudaimonia, that flourishing life the Stoics knew was possible for every human being, including you. This isn't about becoming emotionally numb or pretending problems don't exist. It's about developing the inner strength and wisdom to navigate life's challenges with grace, purpose, and genuine peace. The ancient Stoics believed that every person has the capacity for this transformation regardless of their circumstances. A slave like Epictetus achieved it. An emperor like Marcus Aurelius achieved it. A wealthy advisor like Seneca achieved it. And you can achieve it too, right here in the middle of your busy, complicated, modern life. 1. Why modern life feels overwhelming. Understanding the passions. Sarah works at a tech startup in San Francisco, and by 6 p.m. every weekday, she's mentally exhausted. But instead of going home to rest, she stops at the bar downstairs for just one drink that turns into 3. When she finally gets home, she orders DoorDash while binge-watching Netflix until midnight, then scrolls TikTok in bed until 2 a.m. She wakes up groggy, grabs a venti coffee with extra shots, and the cycle repeats. Sarah thinks she's relaxing, but she's actually running from something deeper. Marcus, a marketing manager in Denver, has a different escape route. When work stress hits, he disappears into online gaming for hours, sometimes calling in sick just to keep playing. When his girlfriend complains about his absence, he gets defensive and retreats further into his virtual world. He tells himself he's just having fun, but deep down he knows he's avoiding real life. These scenarios aren't unique. They're happening in millions of homes across America right now. We live in an age of infinite distractions, and most of us use them the same way Sarah and Marcus do, as escape hatches from psychological discomfort. But here's what the ancient Stoics understood that we've forgotten. These aren't solutions. They're what Stoics called passions, irrational emotional responses that pull us away from wisdom and towards suffering. When Stoics used the word passions, they didn't mean positive emotions like love or enthusiasm. They meant the destructive emotions that arise from false judgments about reality. These passions include fear, anger, excessive desire, and what they considered the root of all suffering: the belief that our happiness depends on things outside our control. Marcus Aurelius, who ruled the Roman Empire while facing plagues, wars, and political chaos, wrote in his personal journal, "You have power over your mind and not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." He understood that external circumstances don't create our suffering. Our judgments about those circumstances do. Think about Sarah's evening routine. She's not actually relaxing. She's running from the passion of anxiety about tomorrow's presentation. The alcohol doesn't solve her work stress. It just postpones the emotional processing she needs to do. The Netflix binge isn't entertainment. It's avoidance of the passion of inadequacy she feels when comparing herself to her more successful colleagues. Each escape mechanism feeds the very passions it's supposed to cure. Marcus's gaming addiction follows the same pattern. He's fleeing from the passion of feeling powerless in his relationship and career. In his virtual world, he has control, achievement, and clear rules for success. But this artificial control makes him even less equipped to handle real-world challenges, creating a vicious cycle where reality feels increasingly overwhelming. The Stoics identified this pattern over 2 millennia ago. Seneca, who was one of Rome's wealthiest men, wrote extensively about how even luxury and pleasure become prisons when we use them to avoid facing ourselves. Every new thing excites the mind, but a mind that seeks happiness in externals is never at rest, he observed. He understood that seeking relief in external things, whether it's substances, entertainment, shopping, or even relationships, keeps us trapped in what he called the slavery of passions. But here's where modern life makes this ancient problem even worse. We have more escape options than any generation in human history. When Romans felt anxious, they had limited distractions available. When we feel anxious, we can instantly access streaming services, social media, food delivery, online shopping, dating apps, video games, and countless other immediate gratifications. Each option promises relief, but they all lead to the same place: deeper disconnection from our authentic selves. The Stoics taught that these passions arise from 4 fundamental false judgments. First, we believe that external things are inherently good or bad when actually they're neutral. It's our response that matters. Second, we think we can control outcomes that are actually beyond our power. Third, we assume that avoiding discomfort will make us happy, when growth actually requires facing difficulty. Fourth, we believe that our worth depends on external validation rather than internal character. Every time Sarah reaches for that drink or opens Netflix, she's acting on these false judgments. She believes her work stress is inherently bad, rather than neutral information about her situation. Thinks she can control how relaxed she feels by consuming entertainment, rather than accepting that true peace comes from within. Assumes avoiding her anxiety will make her happier, rather than processing it. And seeks external validation through social media likes instead of developing internal self-worth. Epictetus, who spent years as a slave before becoming one of history's greatest philosophers, had profound insight into this struggle. Wealth consists not in having great possessions, he taught, but in having few wants. He wasn't advocating poverty. He was pointing out that constantly seeking external solutions to internal problems creates an endless cycle of wanting. The path forward isn't about eliminating all pleasures or becoming emotionally numb. The Stoics enjoyed life's good things. They just didn't depend on them for happiness. Marcus Aurelius appreciated beauty. Seneca enjoyed his wealth responsibly. And Epictetus found joy in simple pleasures. The difference was that they recognized these things as preferred indifference, nice to have, but not necessary for a flourishing life. Breaking free from the passions starts with recognition. Next time you reach for your phone when feeling anxious, pause and ask, what am I running from? When you want to order takeout instead of cooking, consider, what discomfort am I avoiding? When you binge watch shows instead of going to bed, reflect, what thoughts am I trying to escape? This awareness alone begins to weaken the passion's hold over you. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, the best revenge is not to be like your enemy. In this case, the best response to overwhelming modern life isn't to escape it, but to develop the inner strength to meet it with wisdom and courage. 2. The need for approval, how to cultivate inner strength. Jessica works as a graphic designer in Austin and she checks her Instagram 17 times a day. Not because she loves photography, but because she needs to know how many people liked her latest post. When a photo gets fewer than 50 likes, she deletes it, convinced she's somehow failed. At work, she stays late every night, not because her projects require it, but because she desperately wants her boss to see her as the good employee. She says yes to every social invitation even when she's exhausted because she can't bear the thought of people thinking she's antisocial. Jessica's entire life revolves around one terrifying question: what will people think of me? Across the country in Boston, David runs his own consulting business, but he's miserable. He takes on clients he doesn't like, working on projects that drain his soul because he can't handle disappointing anyone. When clients make unreasonable demands, he agrees with a smile, then goes home and complains to his wife about how unfair everyone is. He charges less than his competitors because asking for his worth feels too confrontational. David has built a successful business on paper, but he's trapped in a prison of people-pleasing that's slowly killing his spirit. Both Jessica and David are suffering from what the Stoics would recognize as one of the most destructive passions, the desperate need for external approval. This isn't the natural human desire for connection and community, it's the soul-crushing belief that your worth as a person depends on what others think of you. Epictetus, who understood this struggle intimately, taught his students, wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. But he applied this wisdom beyond material wealth to emotional wealth as well. The person who needs constant approval from others is emotionally impoverished, no matter how much validation they receive. Why? Because external approval is completely outside your control. Think about Jessica's Instagram obsession. She posts a photo hoping for 50 likes, but she has no control over whether people will see it, whether they'll be in a good mood when they do, whether they'll remember to double tap, or whether Instagram's algorithm will even show it to her followers. She's literally betting her self-worth on variables that are completely random. As Marcus Aurelius wrote in his personal reflections, how much trouble he avoids who does not look to see what his neighbor says or does. The Stoics understood that seeking approval puts you in an impossible position. You become a slave to other people's opinions, moods, and whims. Worse, you lose touch with your own values and authentic self because you're constantly shape-shifting to please whoever is in front of you. David charges less than he's worth because he values his clients' approval more than his own financial well-being. Jessica deletes photos she actually likes because she values strangers' opinions more than her own creative expression. But here's the deeper problem the Stoics identified: people pleasers often end up being disliked anyway. When you have no firm principles, when you agree with everyone, when you never stand for anything meaningful, people sense your inauthenticity. They might use your people-pleasing tendencies to their advantage, but they rarely respect you for it. As Seneca observed, every new thing excites the mind, but a mind that seeks happiness in externals is never at rest. The Stoic alternative isn't to become cold or antisocial. It's to develop what they called inner strength, the ability to act according to your own principles regardless of external pressure. This strength comes from understanding a fundamental truth: you are not responsible for other people's opinions, emotions, or reactions. You are only responsible for your own character and actions. Epictetus, despite being born into slavery and facing physical disability, became one of the most respected teachers in Rome because he embodied this principle. He taught, "Don't explain your philosophy. Embody it." He didn't need anyone's permission to be wise, kind, or valuable. His worth came from his character, not from external validation. Marcus Aurelius, who had the approval of millions as emperor, still struggled with this human tendency. In his private journal, he reminded himself how much trouble he avoids who does not look to see what his neighbor says or does, but only to what he does himself. Even with ultimate external validation, he knew that true peace came from internal approval, living according to his own principles and values. Developing this inner strength requires a fundamental shift in how you define success. Instead of measuring your worth by likes, promotions, or compliments, you measure it by how well you live according to your values. Did you act with integrity today? Were you kind when someone was struggling? Did you do your best work regardless of whether anyone noticed? These are the questions that build genuine self-respect. This doesn't mean ignoring feedback or becoming arrogant. The Stoics valued wisdom and were always willing to learn from others. But they distinguished between useful feedback that helps you grow and the random opinions of people who don't understand your situation or values. When your boss gives you constructive criticism about your work, that's valuable information. When a stranger on social media criticizes your appearance, that's just noise. Jessica could transform her relationship with social media by posting photos she genuinely likes, regardless of engagement. She could measure success by whether the image represents something meaningful to her, not by how many hearts it receives. David could revolutionize his business by charging what he's worth and working only with clients who respect his expertise. He could define success by the quality of his work and the integrity of his business practices, not by whether everyone likes him. The Stoics taught that this inner strength grows through practice. Start small, express a genuine opinion in a conversation even if others might disagree. Set a boundary with someone who's taking advantage of your people-pleasing tendencies. Make a decision based on your values rather than what you think others want to hear. As you practice, you'll discover something remarkable. People actually respect you more when you have principles and stick to them. Authenticity is magnetic in a world full of people-pleasers. When you stop seeking approval, you often end up earning genuine respect instead. 3. Breaking free from perfectionism. Embracing your true self. Laura is a high-achieving student in her final year at a prestigious university in New York City. She spent countless nights studying, pushing herself to maintain a perfect GPA while juggling internships, part-time work, and an active social life. Yet, despite her achievements, she feels like a fraud. The moment she receives a B on a paper, her heart races, and her mind spirals into self-criticism. "I'm not good enough," she thinks. "I'll never get into a good graduate program now." Meanwhile, across the country in Seattle, Mark runs his own startup. He has ambitious goals and dreams of being a successful entrepreneur. However, his fear of making mistakes paralyzes him. He spends hours perfecting every detail of his product before launching it, often delaying projects for weeks, if not months. When he finally puts something out into the world, he obsesses over every piece of feedback, letting a single negative comment overshadow dozens of positive reviews. For Mark, perfectionism isn't just a trait. It's an ever-present weight that holds him back from success. Both Laura and Mark are caught in the trap of perfectionism, which the Stoics would critique as a form of false judgment. Perfectionism is not simply the pursuit of high standards. It's the belief that anything less than perfect is unacceptable, and that our self-worth is tied to how well we can achieve that unattainable ideal. This mindset leads to anxiety, fear of failure, and ultimately a disconnection from our true selves. The Stoics, particularly Epictetus, taught that our suffering often stems from our own judgments and expectations. He famously said, "It is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This wisdom applies directly to the perfectionist mindset. When Laura receives a B, it's not the grade itself that causes her anguish. It's her judgment that a B reflects her inadequacy. Similarly, when Mark delays his launch, it's his belief that anything less than perfection is a failure that paralyzes him. The Stoics emphasized that it's not our circumstances but our responses to them that define our experience. They understood that striving for excellence is admirable, but tying our self-worth to our achievements is a recipe for suffering. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his Meditations, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." This means that the obstacles we face, including our perfectionist tendencies, can become the path to growth if we choose to view them differently. To break free from perfectionism, we must first recognize it as a false judgment. Those who strive for perfection often set themselves up for failure by establishing unattainable standards. Instead of asking, "How can I be perfect?" we should ask, "What does success look like for me?" This reorientation allows us to focus on progress rather than perfection. Laura could benefit from redefining success. Instead of aiming for flawless grades, she might consider what genuine learning looks like for her. What skills does she want to develop? What experiences matter most? By shifting her perspective, she can find satisfaction in her efforts rather than fixating on a number that doesn't define her worth. The Stoics would encourage her to focus on the process, not just the outcome. They understood that true wisdom comes from learning and growing, not merely from achieving perfect results. Mark, too, needs to confront his perfectionism. He can start by setting realistic goals and accepting that mistakes are part of the entrepreneurial journey. Instead of delaying his product launch until every detail is flawless, he might ask himself what good enough looks like. The Stoics believed in progress over perfection. They recognized that every misstep is an opportunity for learning and growth. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself that the universe is change. Our life is what our thoughts make it. If Mark can embrace change and imperfection, he can move forward with confidence rather than fear. It's also crucial for both Laura and Mark to practice self-compassion. The Stoics weren't advocating for self-criticism. Rather, they encouraged understanding and acceptance of our imperfections. Seneca wrote, "A good character, when it is tested, is not the one that bears the burden of the storm without yielding, but the one that knows how to rise above it." This means acknowledging when we fall short and recognizing that it's part of being human. To cultivate self-compassion, Laura can begin by journaling her thoughts and feelings after receiving a less-than-perfect grade. Instead of berating herself, she might write down what she learned from the experience and how she can improve next time. By fostering a mindset of growth, she can reduce the fear of failure and embrace the journey of learning. Mark can apply similar practices. After receiving feedback on his product, he should take time to reflect on what he did well, what can be improved, and how he can use this information to grow. By focusing on the positives, he can train his mind to appreciate the process rather than dwell on perceived shortcomings. Another Stoic strategy to combat perfectionism is to remember the concept of preferred indifference. The Stoics taught that while certain things like success, health, and wealth are preferred, they are not essential for a good life. Instead, they emphasized the importance of virtue, integrity, and character. Laura and Mark might remind themselves that their worth isn't tied to grades or business success. Rather, it lies in how they conduct themselves and the values they uphold. By embracing the Stoic principles of progress, self-compassion, and virtue, Laura and Mark can begin to dismantle the chains of perfectionism. They can learn that it's okay to be imperfect, that failure is a stepping stone to success, and that their true selves are enough just as they are. As they release the need for perfection, they'll find a deeper sense of peace and fulfillment in their lives. Ultimately, the journey to break free from perfectionism is a path toward authenticity. It's about aligning with who you truly are rather than who you think you should be. As Marcus Aurelius wisely said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." By reclaiming their minds from the tyranny of perfectionism, Laura and Mark can step into their true selves and live fully, embracing all the beauty and messiness that life has to offer. 4. Isolating yourself, the Stoic call to community and connection. In the hustle and bustle of urban life, it's easy to feel isolated even when surrounded by thousands of people. Emma, a software engineer in San Francisco, spends most of her days glued to her computer screen, working from home. She has friends and colleagues, but she often chooses to skip social gatherings, thinking, "I'll just feel out of place anyway." She convinces herself that spending time alone is more productive and less stressful than navigating awkward social interactions. But as the weeks turn into months, Emma finds herself feeling increasingly lonely, her only companions the flickering lights of her computer and the hum of her refrigerator. On the other side of the country, Tom, a marketing executive in New York City, has a different story. He's well-connected and has a wide circle of acquaintances. Yet, he often feels just as disconnected as Emma. When he attends networking events or parties, he puts on a facade, engaging in shallow conversations and avoiding any real connection. Deep down, he fears vulnerability and shies away from forming authentic relationships. After a long week, he prefers to stay home, scrolling through social media and watching movies alone, convincing himself he needs me time to recharge. Both Emma and Tom exemplify the modern struggle with isolation, a struggle that the Stoics understood all too well. While they may think they are protecting themselves by avoiding social situations, they are, in fact, denying themselves one of the core aspects of human existence: community and connection. The Stoics believed that we are inherently social beings and our flourishing depends on our relationships with others. Epictetus, one of the most prominent Stoic philosophers, emphasized the importance of community when he said, "We are social creatures and we were born for community." This statement highlights that our very nature drives us to seek connections with others. When we isolate ourselves, we not only deprive ourselves of the support and understanding that come from community, but we also undermine our ability to grow as individuals. Emma's decision to isolate herself under the guise of productivity is a common misconception. She may believe that by avoiding social interactions, she is saving time and energy. However, the Stoics would argue that true productivity comes from engaging with others and learning from their experiences. Community provides opportunities for collaboration, inspiration, and personal growth. When we withdraw from social interactions, we miss out on the richness of shared ideas and perspectives that can help us make better decisions and enhance our understanding of the world. Tom's experience reflects another crucial aspect of isolation: the fear of vulnerability. He may think that by avoiding deep connections, he is protecting himself from potential hurt or rejection. However, the Stoics taught that vulnerability is not a weakness but a strength. Seneca, another renowned Stoic philosopher, stated, "A friend is a second self." This means that genuine friendships can help us grow, learn, and navigate life's challenges. By allowing ourselves to be vulnerable with others, we create space for authentic connections that can enrich our lives. The Stoics viewed relationships as essential to living a virtuous life. They understood that our moral character is shaped by our interactions with others, and we often learn important lessons through these relationships. Emma and Tom are missing out on opportunities for growth because they are avoiding the very experiences that can help them develop resilience, empathy, and understanding. To break free from isolation, both Emma and Tom need to shift their perspectives on community. Instead of viewing social interactions as burdensome obligations, they can start to see them as opportunities for connection and growth. Emma can begin by reaching out to a colleague for a virtual coffee chat or joining a local coding meetup. By stepping out of her comfort zone and engaging with others, she may find that the support and camaraderie she craves are just a conversation away. Tom, on the other hand, can practice being more authentic in his interactions. Instead of focusing on superficial conversations at networking events, he can aim to create deeper connections by asking meaningful questions and sharing his own experiences. By opening up, he may find that others appreciate his vulnerability and are willing to reciprocate. This can lead to genuine friendships that provide mutual support and encouragement. The Stoics also emphasized the importance of mutual aid and cooperation. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "What is good for the hive is good for the bee." This quote highlights the interconnectedness of individuals within a community. When we contribute to the well-being of others, we also enhance our own lives. Emma and Tom can find fulfillment by engaging in acts of kindness, whether through volunteering, participating in community events, or simply helping a friend in need. These actions foster a sense of belonging and connection while also reinforcing their own values. Another practical approach to combat isolation is to seek out communities that align with one's interests and values. Emma could join a coding boot camp, participate in hackathons, or get involved in tech-related meetups. These environments provide opportunities to connect with like-minded individuals who share her passions. Tom might consider joining a professional organization in marketing or attending workshops where he can network with others who share his goals and aspirations. As they engage with their communities, Emma and Tom should also remember to practice gratitude. The Stoics believed that gratitude fosters a positive mindset and strengthens our connections with others. By expressing appreciation for the people in their lives, they can enhance their relationships and cultivate a deeper sense of belonging. A simple thank you to a friend for their support or recognition of a colleague's hard work can go a long way in strengthening bonds. Ultimately, the Stoic call to community and connection is a reminder that we are not meant to navigate life alone. Emma and Tom can find strength and fulfillment by embracing their social nature, engaging authentically with others, and contributing to the well-being of their communities. The Stoics understood that flourishing in life requires both individual effort and collective support. By breaking free from isolation and seeking meaningful connections, they can enhance their emotional resilience and discover a richer, more fulfilling existence. In the words of Marcus Aurelius, when you wake up in the morning, tell yourself, the people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly. They are like this because they can't tell good from evil. This powerful reminder encourages us to approach social interactions with patience and understanding. Rather than retreating into isolation, we can choose to engage with others, recognizing that our connections are vital to our well-being and growth. 5. Practical steps to achieve eudaimonia, a Stoic approach. In a world filled with distractions and challenges, achieving eudaimonia, a life of flourishing and true happiness, often feels like an elusive goal. However, the Stoics believed that anyone, regardless of their circumstances, could attain this state through deliberate practice and the application of philosophical principles. By embracing the teachings of Stoicism, we can cultivate resilience, inner peace, and a deep sense of fulfillment. Here are practical steps to help you navigate the path toward eudaimonia. Step 1. Practice mindfulness and self-reflection. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most revered Stoic philosophers, emphasized the importance of self-reflection in his writings. He often reminded himself to examine his thoughts, actions, and motivations. Begin each day with a moment of mindfulness. Set aside time to reflect on your intentions and priorities. Ask yourself questions like, what do I want to achieve today, and what virtues do I want to embody? Incorporating mindfulness into your daily routine helps you become aware of your thoughts and emotions. This awareness is essential for making conscious choices rather than reacting impulsively. Start small by dedicating just 5 minutes each morning to sit in silence, breathe deeply, and focus on the present moment. As you build this habit, it will become easier to pause and reflect throughout your day, allowing you to align your actions with your values. Step 2. Embrace the dichotomy of control. One of the core teachings of Stoicism is understanding what is within our control and what is not. Epictetus famously stated, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This principle encourages us to focus on our responses and attitudes rather than external events. To practice this, create a simple list. On one side, write down things that you can control, such as your thoughts, choices, and actions. On the other side, list what you cannot control, such as the opinions of others, the weather, or unexpected challenges. This exercise helps you release the stress associated with trying to control the uncontrollable. By shifting your focus to what you can influence, you empower yourself to take positive action and cultivate resilience in the face of adversity. Step 3. Cultivate gratitude. Gratitude is a powerful tool for enhancing well-being and promoting a positive mindset. The Stoics recognized the importance of appreciating what we have rather than fixating on what we lack. Seneca advised, true happiness is to enjoy the present without anxious dependence upon the future. To cultivate gratitude, start a daily gratitude journal. Each evening, write down 3 things you are thankful for, no matter how small. This practice encourages you to focus on the positive aspects of your life, fostering an attitude of appreciation. Over time, you'll find that gratitude shifts your perspective, helping you to acknowledge the abundance in your life rather than dwelling on shortcomings. Step 4. Define your values and live by them. Understanding your core values is essential for achieving eudaimonia. The Stoics believed that a virtuous life, guided by principles such as wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance, is the foundation of true happiness. Take the time to identify your values and reflect on how they align with your actions. Create a personal mission statement that encapsulates your beliefs and what you stand for. This statement will serve as a guiding compass when faced with difficult decisions or challenges. When you encounter situations that test your values, refer back to your mission statement to remind yourself of what truly matters to you. Living in accordance with your values fosters a sense of integrity and fulfillment. Step 5. Engage in meaningful relationships. The Stoics recognized that human connections are vital for flourishing. As mentioned earlier, Epictetus stated, "We are social creatures and we were born for community." Invest time in nurturing relationships with family, friends, and mentors. Surround yourself with individuals who inspire you and challenge you to grow. Engaging in meaningful conversations and sharing experiences with others enhances your sense of belonging and connection. Plan regular catch-ups with friends, join community groups, or participate in activities that align with your interests. By fostering these relationships, you create a support network that can help you navigate life's challenges and celebrate your successes. Step 6. Embrace adversity as a teacher. Adversity is an inevitable part of life, but the Stoics viewed it as an opportunity for growth. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." Instead of avoiding challenges, embrace them as teachers that can strengthen your character and resilience. When faced with setbacks, ask yourself, what can I learn from this experience? Shift your perspective to see obstacles as opportunities for personal development. Whether it's a failed project at work or a personal struggle, recognize that each challenge provides valuable lessons that contribute to your growth. Step 7. Practice forgiveness. Holding on to grudges or resentment can weigh heavily on your emotional well-being. The Stoics believed in the importance of forgiveness, both for others and for yourself. Seneca advised, "Forgive your enemies, but never forget their names." This wisdom encourages us to let go of negativity while remaining aware of past lessons. To practice forgiveness, reflect on any grudges you may be holding. Write a letter, which you don't have to send, expressing your feelings toward the person who hurt you. Acknowledge the pain, but also recognize the power of letting go. By releasing resentment, you free yourself from emotional burdens and create space for healing and growth. Step 8. Pursue continuous learning. The Stoics valued wisdom and the pursuit of knowledge. They believed that lifelong learning is essential for personal growth and achieving eudaimonia. Engage in activities that stimulate your mind, whether through reading, attending lectures, or taking courses in areas of interest. Set aside time each week to explore new ideas, philosophies, or skills. Challenge yourself to step outside your comfort zone and embrace learning opportunities. As you expand your knowledge, you'll develop a deeper understanding of yourself and the world around you, contributing to a more fulfilling life. Achieving eudaimonia is not a destination but a continuous journey of self-discovery, growth, and connection. By incorporating these practical Stoic principles into your daily life, you can cultivate resilience, peace, and a profound sense of fulfillment. Remember that the Stoics believed in the power of individual agency. You have the ability to shape your life and respond to challenges with wisdom and grace. As you embark on this journey, keep in mind the words of Marcus Aurelius: the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. By nurturing your mind and embracing the Stoic approach, you can free yourself from the burdens of modern life and live a life of true flourishing. Embracing the Stoic journey to Eudaimonia. As we come to the end of this exploration of Stoic philosophy, it's essential to reflect on the profound insights we've uncovered along the way. The journey toward Eudaimonia, or a flourishing life, is not a destination but a continuous process of growth, self-discovery, and connection. The principles of Stoicism provide us with a powerful toolkit to navigate the complexities of modern life, helping us transform challenges into opportunities for personal development. Throughout this journey, we've learned that understanding our passions and the judgments that lead to our suffering is the first step toward liberation. By recognizing what is within our control and what lies beyond it, we can release the burdens that weigh us down. We've also explored the importance of cultivating inner strength by letting go of the need for external approval and embracing our true selves. This shift allows us to live authentically, aligned with our values and principles. Connection is another critical theme we've discussed. The Stoics taught us that we are inherently social beings and our relationships greatly influence our well-being. By engaging with others, practicing vulnerability, and nurturing meaningful connections, we can enrich our lives and foster a sense of belonging. Remember, it's through our interactions with others that we learn, grow, and discover new dimensions of ourselves. Moreover, we've examined practical steps to achieve eudaimonia, emphasizing the importance of mindfulness, gratitude, and continuous learning. These practices empower us to take charge of our lives, embrace adversity as a teacher, and pursue personal growth relentlessly. Each of these steps serves as a reminder that happiness is not a fleeting emotion but a state of being cultivated through intention and action. As you move forward, I encourage you to embrace the Stoic journey wholeheartedly. Implement these principles into your daily life and make them your guiding compass. Set aside time for reflection, practice gratitude, and engage with your community. Remember that every obstacle can become a stepping stone toward your goals if you approach it with the right mindset. In the spirit of Stoicism, I leave you with a powerful reminder from Marcus Aurelius: you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. Your ability to shape your thoughts and reactions is your greatest asset. Take charge of your mindset and you will unlock the door to a flourishing life. Thank you for joining us on this exploration of Stoic philosophy and its practical applications in modern life. If you found value in this content, I encourage you to subscribe to the Stoic Viva channel for more insights and inspiration. Like this video and share it with your friends and family. Let's spread the wisdom of Stoicism and support each other on our journeys toward eudaimonia. Together, we can cultivate resilience, embrace our authentic selves, and create a community rooted in understanding and growth. Remember, the path to a flourishing life is not walked alone. Let's walk it together, armed with the timeless wisdom of the Stoics.